In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, National Assembly discusses socio-economic challenges and strategies for 2023 and beyond. Later on, foreign investment funds eager to invest in Vietnam. And in our world news, Israel strikes Gaza's largest refugee camp, killing at least 50 Palestinians.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is currently 3 p.m. local time, and you're tuning into 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Lilin Lei with the latest updates. Now, the National Assembly held its plenary session on Wednesday to discuss the progress of implementing the Socio-Economic Development Plan for 2023 and the anticipated plan for 2024. During the meeting, National Assembly deputies shared their opinions on how to address the challenges and ensure the plan's progress.
The credit program for 5 priority sectors is effective, but it is limited to short-term loans. I believe there should be mechanisms in place for medium and long-term loans as well, considering the importance of these sectors for economic development.
The government's 2023 report highlights a stable 3.38% growth in the agricultural sector, which serves as a strong economic pillar. However, there are still limitations in agricultural investment, and farmers face risks from unsold produce. I recommend that the government implement policies to address challenges that arise during price drops in agriculture.
The government should focus on empowering the country's talents and entrepreneurs, and I appreciate the draft law addressing this issue. The recent Resolution 41 by the Party Central Committee also highlights the significance of entrepreneurs. I hope the National Assembly will embrace its spirit and propose effective government solutions during the session.
In regards to mini apartments, I fully support the National Assembly Chairman's position of addressing the practical needs of the people while firmly opposing any legalization of irregularities in the law on housing. I recommend that the government continue providing incentives to increase the availability of affordable social and commercial housing.
According to the General Statistics Office, as of October, consumer prices are stable and total retail sales of goods and services maintain positive growth. The trade surplus reached $24.61 billion, signifying a robust trade relationship between Vietnam shares with global partners. These are among the achievements of Vietnam's economy in the first 10 months of 2023.
According to the General Statistics Office, in the first 10 months of the year, the average consumer price index, CPI, increased by 3.2%, falling short of the national target of 4 to 4.5%. This also means that prices of goods and services remain under control.
The global economy has been battling inflation since last year. However, Vietnam has maintained macroeconomic stability despite headwinds, thanks to the price stability.
Stable prices also support domestic purchasing power and consumption. Total retail sales of goods and services in the 10 months increased 9.4% to over $200 million. As exports plunge, domestic consumption is believed to boost domestic manufacturers and distributors.
As total retail sales continue to increase, it will help manufacturers and even distributors maintain sales. And this will allow us to maintain stable selling prices for consumers.
It should be noted that Vietnam's trade surplus has topped $24 billion in the past 10 months. While many economies are affected by global fluctuations, Vietnam has set records for keeping trade activities steady.
A trade surplus of $24.6 billion shows Vietnam has made quite an effort to stay connected with the world's market.
We also need to re-establish ties with export markets to maintain jobs. It is also necessary to review legal frameworks that have not been put into effect yet. Stronger decentralization is also needed to restore economic growth.
In addition, in the past 10 months, realized foreign investment capital was estimated at $18 billion, up 2.4% year-on-year, reflecting investors' growing confidence in Vietnam's economic prospects.
Land rental fees will be reduced by 30% this year, as stated in Decision 25 of the Prime Minister, effective November 20th. However, this reduction will not apply to cases where lessees still have outstanding land rent for years prior to 2023, including possible late payment interest. For lessees who are already receiving rental fee reductions under the land law and other applicable laws, the 30% reduction will be calculated based on the rental fees payable for the year as specified by the law. The fiscal year 2023 is ending in 2 months, and localities are accelerating the disbursement of public investment capital. A positive development is that many public investment projects in the Mekong Delta are expected to be completed by the end of November, ahead of schedule for early 2024. This year, the government allocated over $26.47 billion of public investment capital to ministries, branches, and localities. By early October, nearly 52% of this amount had been disbursed, which is about 6% higher than the same period last year. Currently, the top 3 localities with the highest disbursement rate are Long An, Đồng Tháp, and Tiền Giang provinces. Vietnam is ranked 46th out of 132 countries in the 2023 Global Innovation Index. Moreover, it has moved up from 5th to 3rd place among the most innovative economies in Southeast Asia. The Vietnam Innovation Forum 2023 attracted the interest of many venture capital firms.
This venture capital fund, currently valued at $850 million, is primarily focused on technology. It has recently made investments in 2 Vietnamese startups and is actively seeking additional opportunities.
Vietnam has the enthusiasm of a startup nation. The people here are positive and dedicated to their work.
Meanwhile, over the past decade, this venture capital firm has invested more than $50 million in over a dozen startup projects in Vietnam. This amount has the potential to double or even triple in the next 10 years.
Golden Gate Ventures, we invest in everything that is early stage technology startup companies. Areas that excite us include health tech, climate tech, education, fintech. These are going to be high growth areas here in Vietnam.
This year's forum witnessed the participation of 30 domestic and international investment funds, all of whom pledged their support for Vietnam's expansion and the globalization of its innovation and startup ecosystem. Several of these funds have already invested millions of dollars in Vietnam.
Vietnam is currently experiencing unique opportunities and advantages, such as a large population, a stable economy, and a skilled workforce. Our goal is to connect Vietnamese startups with foreign venture capital firms.
During the 5-day exhibition, the Minister of Planning and Investment held working sessions with partners and large enterprises from the United States and Japan. The purpose was to boost investment and take into account the wishes of investors.
According to statistics, China's coffee imports have been increasing by over 25% per year. In 2022, the country spent nearly $50 million on purchasing Vietnamese coffee. Instant coffee and processed coffee currently dominate the market in China. This presents an opportunity for Vietnamese coffee businesses to expand their presence in this large market.
Recently, numerous Vietnamese enterprises had the chance to exhibit their processed coffee products at the China ASEAN Expo in Guangxi Province, China. These businesses also conducted research on Chinese consumer trends in order to strategize for exporting to this market.
To export to China, it is necessary to have a GACC code issued by the China Customs. Our company has already obtained the code for roasted coffee beans and paper filter coffee. Recently, we participated in the China ASEAN Expo exhibition in China, where we observed a significant consumer demand, particularly for instant coffee.
Most coffee enterprises in the Central Highlands believe that China is an extremely promising market. However, Chinese consumers have high expectations for new and high-quality coffee varieties.
To ensure that our products maintain the same quality as those from G7 countries, we need to import equipment from them. This may result in our products having a higher price. Additionally, coffee consumption is increasing, with markets like China experiencing annual growth rates of 10 to 15%.
This event presents significant opportunities for businesses to enter the Chinese market. A positive indication is the increasing trend of coffee suppliers in Vietnam receiving orders for exports to China.
Recognizing China as a highly competitive market, enterprises in the Central Highlands are making efforts to diversify their specialty and processed coffee products. Their goal is to promote exports to China through official channels.
Before we move on, let's have a look at the exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and some world currencies in today's market. Coming up next on VTV News. Ha Tĩnh suffers damages to lives and properties from heavy rains and floods. And later on, Hanoi's suburban areas to promote tourism development. Moving on to other important updates, 2 people have died and 1 is currently missing due to heavy rains and floods in Ha Tĩnh province. In addition, 23,000 students have had to stop attending school. Nearly 1,000 households are isolated and many residential areas are being divided. The infrastructure is also severely eroded. A more concerning issue is the 130 damaged and degraded dams that are at high risk of bursting. That dam in Hương Khê district has already suffered structural damage. Ha Tĩnh is mobilizing all available resources to promptly address these problems. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has called for careful calculations, quick implementation, and adherence to prescribed standards for the repair and construction of lakes and dams. Ho Chi Minh City will provide support for 13,000 families of union members and workers who are unable to return home for Lunar New Year 2024. Each family will receive a support package to help them celebrate the occasion. The support is available to union members, workers who have lost their jobs due to reduced production or decreased orders, pregnant women, and union members raising children under 36 months old or children undergoing heart surgery in difficult circumstances are also eligible. The list of eligible families must be submitted to the Ho Chi Minh City Labor Federation by December 15th. Thousands of ethnic households have been able to escape poverty by changing their mindsets. In the Central Highlands region, Tumorong commune in Kon Tum province stands out with the highest poverty rate. Nevertheless, the locals have found a way to improve their livelihoods and overcome poverty by adopting a mindset that leverages local advantages to make ends meet.
After learning about the benefits of cultivating the yellow cheesewood tree, this man made the decision to grow this particular species on his nearly 10-hectare land. As a result, his entire hillside is now covered in a lush green landscape.
This hill used to be bare, with no trees. Now, I have fenced it off and planted yellow cheesewood to provide a source of wood.
The practice of planting wooden trees has spread among the community, transforming degraded lands in the commune. This has also shifted the mindset of local ethnic people regarding their livelihoods.
The locals adopt the model when they see its efficiency demonstrated in other households. Plans and campaigns from authorities do not work, the locals only follow when they see actual benefits.
Changing mindsets, especially among officials in the region, including ethnic individuals who hold positions in local party committees and authorities, is crucial. This will facilitate the dissemination of the model to the public. Additionally, we will persist in conducting campaigns to educate people about the necessary mindset shifts for economic development.
In a locality with a high poverty rate of over 50%, more than 1,300 households in the commune have successfully overcome poverty after just 2 years of implementing this model.
Recently, Đà Lạt and Hội An have been officially registered as part of UNESCO's Global Creative Cities Network, joining 55 other cities worldwide. Đà Lạt is recognized as a creative city in the field of music, while Hội An is recognized for crafts and folk arts. To be acknowledged as a global creative city by UNESCO, cities must demonstrate strong commitments and take concrete actions to leverage culture and creativity as a part of their people-centered development strategy. Previously, Hanoi was recognized as a creative city in the field of design by UNESCO. Hanoi also boasts the diverse ecosystems of nature and culture and has easy connections to provinces and cities across the country. With these advantages, the city has great potential to develop agricultural tourism while also focusing on rural development. In the suburban areas, local residents have successfully transformed craft villages and farming activities into tourism products. This not only increases their income, but also showcases the beauty of the green countryside and its rich cultural heritage.
Every tree branch has a cluster of grapes. People who pass by often compliment us on the juicy grape clusters and our fruitful grapevine yard.
This family is the first household in Dan Phượng district to successfully grow summer black grapes. With this model, the district now has an additional agricultural tourism product in addition to its pure agricultural land.
I've visited many attractions in Vietnam, such as Sapa, Đà Lạt, and Nha Trang, but this vineyard is so wonderful.
This model provides economic efficiency and generates job opportunities for the community. It offers a stable livelihood and a good income for local farmers.
Meanwhile, Hồng Vân Commune in Thường Tín district has taken the lead in the city in developing a rural tourism model. The commune provides land and roads, while individuals are responsible for building tourism infrastructure. As a result, during the flower blooming season, many tourists visit the commune to appreciate its natural beauty and create cherished memories with their families. For local residents, rural tourism not only generates income, but also enhances the beauty of their hometown.
This model helps beautify our homeland, create jobs, and attract domestic and international tourists. I'm delighted that visitors give positive reviews.
This is a place of interest located in the traditional incense stick craft village of VTVgo in Ung Hoa district. VTVgo has now become a popular attraction in suburban tours of Hanoi. Tourism is bringing new vibrancy to the picturesque landscapes of the capital's New South countryside.
A low-lying area, once considered a flood navel, has now emerged as the world's best tourism village. That is the proud achievement of Tân Hoa village in Tân Hoa Commune, Minh Hoa district, Quảng Bình province. The people who are gravely affected by frequent natural disasters have transformed their repeatedly flood-hit homeland into a tourist attraction.
Since the floating house model initiative was put into practice, the people of Tân Hoa village have adapted and responded quickly to the flooding pattern. More importantly, they have incentivized this emergency measure and experimented with unique weather-resistant homestays. The model is deployable all year round, even during the flood season. Therefore, it offers the native experience of living with floods and resolves seasonal limitations in tourism.
When we organize this climate adaptation tour, our wish is for visitors to have a better idea of the lives of local people here during the rain and flood seasons and to offer a new perspective on what is called a flood navel. Tourism revenue also helps locals improve their living conditions after floods.
Since turning the hardship of natural disasters into a selling point, this village has become a never-before-seen tourist attraction.
We arrived only a few days ago. We went for the tour, jungle tour, cave tour, and this was really beautiful. So we enjoy now being here.
Walking breathtaking, very different from anything I've ever.
Thanks to its success in promoting tourism as an economic pillar, Tân Hoa Village was honored with the Best Tourism Villages 2023 title by the World Tourism Organization.
The village has offered tourism products and services in a climate-adaptive manner. It aligns with the latest sustainability trend in tourism and makes people understand life during a flood better.
Getting the best tourism village from Tân Hoa, I believe that the village can have a powerful impact to receive many visitors. So let us make sure that all the visitors, either from Vietnam and overseas, can appreciate the original beauty and cultural asset of what Tân Hoa Village have to offer.
Coming up next in our world news. Israel strikes Gaza's largest refugee camp, killing at least 50 Palestinians. Later on, Eurozone's economic growth remains sluggish despite eased inflations. Moving on to our world news, Israeli airstrikes struck a densely populated refugee camp in the Gaza Strip on Tuesday, resulting in the deaths of at least 50 Palestinians. According to a statement from the Israel Defense Forces, the airstrike targeted and killed Ibrahim Bayeri, who was described as one of the Hamas commanders responsible for the October 7th attack on Israel. That attack resulted in the deaths of more than 1,400 people and the hostage-taking of hundreds. However, witnesses reported that the airstrike caused significant damage to the entire refugee camp, resulting in the destruction of many houses and the loss of more lives. Hamas has strongly denied the presence of one of its leaders in the refugee camp. The health ministry in the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip reported that at least 50 people were killed, approximately 150 were injured, and several individuals are still trapped under the rubble. Countries around the world have strongly condemned this settlers' attack, which has resulted in the deaths of several civilians. The Eurozone's economic growth remains sluggish despite eased inflation figures. Inflation in the Eurozone fell more sharply than expected to 2.9% in October, according to the EU Statistics Office. This better-than-expected inflation data brings it closer to the European Central Bank's target of 2%, with their policy of higher interest rates contributing to the welcomed calm. However, the Eurozone's economy continues to be sluggish as the interest rates hikes aimed at curbing soaring inflation have further weighed down spending by consumers and businesses. Germany, the largest economy among the 20 countries that use the euro, experienced a 0.1% decline in its economic output, while the second largest economy, France, only achieved a meager 0.1% growth, slowing down from 0.6% in the previous quarter. High central bank rates affect borrowing costs across the economy, increasing the cost of credit for purchases such as homes or expanding factories or offices. This reduces the demand for goods and ultimately restrains price increases. The internationalization of the Chinese renminbi, or RMB, has been steadily progressing in recent years and has played a greater role in global trade. In the first 9 months of this year, renminbi cross-border payments reached 38.9 trillion yuan, equivalent to 5,420 billion US dollars, demonstrating a 24% year-on-year increase. Renminbi settlements for cross-border goods trade accounted for 1/4 of the total cross-border goods trade, a 7% increase compared to the previous year and the highest level seen in recent years. China's central bank has stated that this has improved the role of RMB in serving the real economy. The RMB's function as a financing currency continues to improve. Policies related to practices such as overseas lending by domestic banks and domestic bond issuance by overseas institutions have been introduced. The investment and financing environment for the RMB has continued to improve. There is an ongoing controversy over the management of artificial intelligence, or AI, among countries worldwide. In the latest initiative, the UK will host the first global summit on artificial intelligence with leaders from 28 countries participating. The conference objective is to discuss the risks associated with AI and establish a consensus on the safe development of this technology. Prior to the conference, leaders from the United Nations and various countries called for the strengthening of global governance in the field of artificial intelligence.
According to the latest reports, the United Nations acknowledges the notable progress of artificial intelligence, AI, in recent times. While this advancement brings numerous benefits, it also comes with potential risks.
The entrenching of bias and discrimination, surveillance and invasion of privacy, fraud and other violations of human rights.
Meanwhile, a newly published British research warns about the risk of artificial intelligence amplifying existing threats by significantly increasing their speed and scale.
AI could make it easier to build chemical or biological weapons. Terrorist groups could use AI to spread fear and destruction on an even greater scale. Criminals could exploit AI for cyber attacks, disinformation, fraud, or even child sexual abuse.
To address the risks, the United Nations announced on October 26 the creation of a 39-member advisory body. This body will focus on issues related to the international governance of artificial intelligence.
The advisory body is the starting point, and this group will work independently, guided by some basic principles. The advisory body efforts will be inclusive and based on the universal values enshrined in the United Nations Charter.
Most recently, the group of 7 industrialized countries, G7, agreed on a draft of guiding principles for developing artificial intelligence systems. This is a positive step towards addressing the risk of misuse of this technology.
Up next is the weather forecast. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website or YouTube channel or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.